You, my friend, are being lied to. Lied to by a world filled with gurus telling you that the reason you aren't successful is because you're not disciplined enough, because you're not focused enough, because you're not working hard enough. And listen, sometimes maybe they're right. Maybe you do need to get up and you need to get to work, but often the problem isn't that you lack discipline, focus, or work ethic. It's that you're directing them towards the wrong things. And I see this playing out literally dozens of times in my own life. In fact, it's one of the very first things I see every morning when my partner Jamie and I wake up and take our dog for a walk. Every morning, like clockwork, as we leave our apartment at 6 a.m., we pass by the woman responsible for cleaning the building. She is there busting her ass before the sun is even up every single day. And so many people out there would tell you that this is the key to success, to rise and grind at 5 a.m. And this is what it takes to get ahead of everybody else, right? It's wrong. Here's the brutal truth. Plenty of people out there are doing this every single day and they're not getting ahead. They have discipline, they have focus, and they have hard work, but it's not enough. If you want to achieve greatness in this life, you want to get ahead of 99% of people, these are simply the price of admission. They get you in the game, but they will not win you the game unless you invest them into the right things. So here's the million-dollar question. What are the right things to invest your time, energy, and resources into so that you can get ahead of 99% of people? Well, most people go looking for the fancy, complicated solution, but the truth is, fundamentals applied with excellence wins championships. And when it comes to the fundamentals of you, there's really 4 categories you gotta master. I call them the 4 spheres of influence. You have your mindset, health, wealth, and skills, which is what we're gonna break down now. So here are the investments you need to make in the next year to put yourself ahead of 99% of people. All right, our first sphere of influence is your mindset. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. If it's cracked or broken, then it's gonna impair the speed at which you move forward in life. So just think about it like this. Imagine you're driving down the freeway in the middle of the night in a thunderstorm. You can barely see past your headlights. Chances are you're not gonna drive nearly as fast as you would in the middle of the day with perfect visibility, right? In my experience, so many of modern life's issues stem from a simple lack of clarity. Clarity about which problems in life are even worth solving and which ones you should probably walk away from. Clarity about how to go about solving these problems. If you've ever felt overwhelmed or lost, it's probably because you lack clarity. So the single best investment you can make is in cleaning your windshield, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you've got a supercar engine if you can't see where you're going. Even if Jesus takes the wheel and you floor it, chances are you're gonna end up in the ditch. So here's 3 investments to make in your mindset. Number 1, therapy. Now, full disclosure, I haven't been to a therapist in years, but this is something I'm looking to change in the next year because I think there's incredible value in talking to somebody professionally trained in helping you unpack your shit. Now, something you might not know about me is that one of my degrees is in psychology. And one of the things I find most interesting about therapy is how often we're absolutely certain our problem is this thing, when in reality, once we start talking it through, you come to realize it's actually that thing. And that thing is something you never even stop to consider. That right there is the power of therapy. And I highly recommend it, even if things are going great, because you can never have too much clarity about yourself or the world around you. All right, the second investment into your mindset is to keep a decision journal. Listen, you make on average 30,000 decisions every single day. Despite this, your power of judgment probably isn't significantly better than it was last year, which isn't surprising. It's actually the same reason you're probably not any better at typing on a keyboard than you were last year, despite the fact that you've probably written way more emails, way more blog posts, or way more social media whatevers. It's because, as Naval says, it's not about 10,000 hours, it's about 10,000 iterations. And all learning, and therefore mastery, requires 3 things: feedback, reflection, and iteration. That means we need feedback about the result so we can reflect on what did and didn't work and then make tweaks through iteration that then leads to getting more feedback. This is called the learning loop, and it's really easy to see how this plays out in something like shooting a basketball. It's not so obvious when it comes to making decisions though, because despite all the tens of thousands of decisions we make in a single day, we rarely stop to consider the following: what we think is gonna happen, why we think it's gonna happen, what else might happen, why we think this happening would be better than that happening, and the last one, what's the probability that this and not that will happen? Now, running every decision through this process would be impractical, but if you want to improve your judgment, then I recommend you run 1 or 2 big decisions every single week through a system I call the decision journal. If you want the decision journal template that I use, just go to anthonyvicino.com/decision to download it for free, and I'll drop a link down below for you. All right, so here's the third investment to make into your mindset: expansive travel. Because you and I see the entire universe through the lens of our own eyes, it's often hard to imagine that there's a world beyond us. And therefore, our problems often feel cosmic and existential in a way that overwhelms our puny little minds. Nothing has ever put the true size and scope of my problems into proper perspective better than traveling the world, meeting other people, immersing myself in other cultures, and understanding that in the expanse of reality, I am nothing more than an insignificant speck of dust. And I don't know, maybe this makes me weird, but I find it freeing to realize that my problems in life don't really matter because in the end, I don't really matter. And something about this awareness just gives me the permission I need to just be. So I encourage you to get out there, to travel, go see the world, because to travel is to take a journey into yourself and to see things in there that you could never find otherwise. Nothing will make you feel so small or so connected as traveling the world. All right, now let's move on to our second sphere of influence, which is our health. Your body is the vehicle carrying you through this life. And if you don't take care of it, then it's just a matter of time till the wheels fall off. And when they do, you're gonna learn a very harsh truth. If you don't have your health, you don't really have anything worth having. I mean, what's the point of having all the money in the world if you can't get out of bed to use it? What's the point of being famous if you're in constant agony? What's the point of being surrounded by loved ones if you're in a coma? Remember this, the healthy man wants 1,000 things. The sick man wants just one. The problem for most of us is that we're doing the bare minimum to keep this squishy biological machine running, which isn't just putting us at greater risk of future catastrophic failure, but it's also degrading the quality of our energy on a daily basis. And this sucks because the quality of your life is ultimately dictated by the quality of your energy. If you got no energy, you're effectively dead. If you got tons of high quality energy, then you're alive, you're thriving. But what exactly does it mean to be in like the top 1% of health? I actually thought this was going to be a hard question to answer, but it turns out that the Mayo Clinic already did the heavy lifting for me in a study called Healthy Lifestyle Characteristics. In it, they looked to see how many adults exhibited 4 healthy lifestyle characteristics, which they defined as sufficiently active, eating a healthy diet, non-smoker, and recommended body fat percentage. Here's the crazy part. They found that only 2.7% of adults had all 4 characteristics. Listen, the bar is set so low here, you could literally trip over it and still be ahead of the vast majority of people. And the reward for doing this, well, not only will you most likely live longer, but you'll live better. I mean, what's not to love about that? So let's break this down as simple as possible into what I call the 3 levers of energy. You have your sleep, exercise, and nutrition. Here's some of my favorite investments that you can make into each one. For sleep, the single best investment I've ever made is something called the 8 Sleep mattress. And no, I'm not being sponsored. I'm not getting paid to make this recommendation. This is a mattress that regulates your body temperature to keep it in the optimal sleeping zone throughout the night. No more waking up, having sweat through the bed, or getting up to find another blanket because you're too cold. Instead, you're just gonna stay asleep, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, this thing is expensive. It's like $3,000 or something. And because of that, I hemmed and hawed for over a year before finally pulling the trigger. Here's how I eventually made that decision though. I just did the math. Let's assume you spend 8 hours a night in bed and that mattress is gonna last you like 5 years. This means you're spending 8 hours every night times 365 days in a year times 5 years, which is 14,600 hours. Now divide the $3,000 cost of the mattress by 14,600 hours, and we find that the per use cost is actually only 21 cents. So here's the question you gotta ask yourself. Is a great night's sleep worth 21 cents? For me, that's a no-brainer. All right, the second investment to make in your health is in exercise, specifically a personal trainer. Now, I was a professional athlete for most of my 20s, and I thought I had this whole health thing figured out. But what I didn't realize is that staying fit is really easy when you're young and you have all the time in the world just to hang out in the gym. Now, as I'm on the cusp of 40 and juggling all of life's competing priorities, I'm finding it easier and easier to skip the occasional workout. And as a result, last year I looked up one day to the sobering realization that I was a solid 20 pounds overweight. So I did something for the very first time in my life. I hired a personal trainer. Not because I needed to be told what to do, but because I needed some form of external accountability. And guess what? It worked. 3 months later, I was back down to my goal weight and I felt awesome. Now, I know this is gonna sound stupid, but feeling good feels good. So go on, get yourself that gym membership, hire that personal trainer. You are most definitely worth it. All right, the third investment to make in your health is in nutrition, specifically a meal prep service. I am a human garbage disposal. When I was young, this really wasn't much of a problem, but these days, as my metabolism slows down, it's becoming more of an issue. Not only that, but what I didn't realize is that the most profound effects of nutrition, especially for the ADHD mind like my own, they're often invisible, which was proven to me last year when my personal trainer had me cut out gluten, sugar, and alcohol from my diet. Within 2 weeks, I swear to God, I could see through the goddamn matrix. It was like stepping out of a perpetual brain fog. I've never felt so mentally clear, focused, and razor sharp. It was incredible. Now, here's the thing about nutrition. You probably already know it's important and you probably would like to eat better, but it's also a lot of work and very time consuming, and it can be very expensive. Well, the easiest solution that I found is just to get a meal prep service that cooks and delivers a whole week's worth of meals and then delivers it to your front door. And the crazy thing is that this is way more affordable than most people even realize. The plan that we use breaks down to $11 per meal. So I can get 2 meals every day for only $700 a month. Now, I'm not gonna pretend like that isn't a lot of money for most people. And you certainly can save money by doing your own grocery shopping and cooking at home, but is that really the highest and best use of your time? Let's assume you spend 1 hour per week grocery shopping and another 1.5 hours per day cooking and cleaning. That's around 11 hours a week or roughly 40 hours a month. Now, if your hourly rate at work is, let's say, $25, then that means this option of doing everything yourself is costing you about $1,000 a month. And from what I found just doing a quick Google search, one person typically spends about $300 a month on groceries alone. So all told, doing it yourself costs about $1,300 a month, which is way more than the $700 it would cost to have somebody else do everything for you. Not to mention, these pre-cooked meals are way tastier than anything I could personally make. For me, this is just about as easy as decisions ever get for me these days. But hey, for you, if you love cooking, more power to you. All right, let's move on to our third sphere of influence, your wealth. Over the years, this sphere of influence has caused me more stress and anxiety than all the others combined, and I'm not alone on that. According to the APA, which is just the governing body of psychologists, money is the leading cause of stress in the United States. Now, my strategy back in the day when money, or rather my lack of money, was the biggest problem in my life, was just to put my head in the sand and pretend like it didn't matter. This ultimately led me to accumulating over $80,000 of debt, so not really a great strategy. So listen, this might be the most trite cliche thing, and I say it all the time, but it's true. Money won't solve all your problems, but it will solve all your money problems. And the thing is, a lot of problems in life are nothing more than money problems. Now, a lot of people like to say money can't buy happiness, but I'll tell you what, I'm way happier, way less stressed out because I never really have to worry about money anymore. If that sounds like something you'd like to achieve for yourself, then here's the single best investment you can make. It's into a daily financial audit. If money is a game, which is how most wealthy people think about it, then how much you've got in the bank is the score. And I can't think of a single game where you don't always know the score at any given moment. It's the single most important piece of information in any game because it's immediate feedback as to how you're doing. Without this, you can't really know if your game plan or budget is actually working or not. Now, there was a time in my life where the idea of looking at my bank account caused me extreme anxiety because I didn't know what I'd find there. Would it be positive? Would it be negative? Who knows? But if I never looked, then it wasn't really a problem, right? Wrong, obviously wrong. You can't slay the dragons you refuse to look at. So regardless of what your accounts currently show, you need to start a daily financial audit. Use an aggregating software like Monarch or Mint, and then spend 10 minutes every morning just reviewing the previous day's transactions. It's not gonna change much most days, and this is gonna start to feel like a waste of time, but trust me, money goes to the person who pays it the most attention. All right, if you want other tips on how to make money, go check out the other videos on the channel, as we've got a lot to help you go from being in debt or being broke to making millions. All right, now let's get to my favorite of the 4 spheres of influence, skills. Skills are my favorite investment because they can't be taken from you, they can't be taxed, and best of all, they pay compounding dividends regardless of economic conditions every single day until you die. And the beauty of skills is that once acquired, you can use them over and over again to duplicate whatever result you want. For instance, if you want to make another $1 million and you have the skills of a millionaire, then it's simply a matter of going out and reapplying those skills you already have. But if you don't have those skills, then you just have to do what 99% of people do and hope you get lucky. Hope is a terrible investment strategy. Better is to view yourself as an investment vehicle and then every single day make deposits into the bank of you by continually refining the skills that will help you achieve your goals. Here are 3 skills that have personally helped me a ton on my journey. Number 1 is storytelling. Victor Hugo said that there is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. But this is only partially true because an idea is only ever as powerful as our ability to effectively communicate it. And the way that humans communicate ideas is through story. This is why Steve Jobs said, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. Why? Because story is the source code of the human experience. It's how we interpret the past, it's how we define the present, and it's how we create the future. Those who understand how to use this tool can use it to transform the world. Truly, learning to tell compelling stories is a cheat code, not only in business, but in life and everything in between. If you want to learn how to tell amazing stories, I've dropped a link to my 7-figure storytelling blueprint in the description below. So go grab a copy of that. It's completely free. Now, the next skill worth investing in is writing. Listen, I get it. Writing sucks. Though I've written 13 best-selling books, I always say that I hate writing, but I love having written. And the reason is writing's really hard. It is to the mind what exercise is to the body. It's slow, it's hard, it's tedious, not to mention that most of us suck at it. Now, I personally blame the education system for a lot of this. If anything, the process of writing overly formal essays just reinforced how hard writing actually is without actually making anybody a better writer. And this is a shame because writing is the physical manifestation of your ephemeral thoughts. Think of it like this. If you've ever meditated, you've probably been frustrated by how frequently your monkey mind just leaps from thought to thought. It can be a chaotic, frustrating experience as all your thoughts sort of just smash into one another like an Adderall-fueled toddler in a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit. Now, the beauty of writing is that it is the process by which we take this spastic monkey by the hand and walk it from point A to point Z. But here's the problem. That monkey is fighting you the entire way. Our monkey brain hates sitting still for any length of time, especially the length of time it's required to force out a thought through the choke point of your pen or keyboard. But if you persist, if you keep hold of that monkey and you keep moving forward, you will arrive at the end of this process with something incredible: clarity of thought. Now, clarity of thought is powerful because it leads to improved judgment, which leads to better decisions, which ultimately leads to better results. Writing is simultaneously the process by which we cage and free our chaotic minds. I don't think it's any coincidence that all the most influential people and clearest thinkers in the world are also great writers. So I encourage you to take this to heart and start writing daily. All right, so here's our third and final skill: vision casting. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a really big fan of goal setting, especially as we enter into a brand new year. Goals, if used correctly, are the means by which we direct our efforts. But here's the thing. Most people are setting goals all wrong. And there's 2 statistics I want to share with you that prove this. First, you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you actually write them down. That's a massive increase in your likelihood of success. So then why is it that only 3% of people actually take the time to write out their goals? Yeah, you heard that right. Only 3% of people actually write out their goals. So if you want to immediately put yourself ahead of 97% of people when it comes to your New Year's resolutions, all you got to do is actually write down your goals. Now, if you want to catapult yourself even further, like into that top 1% of successful people, I've actually got something better than goal setting for you. Because goals are simply the destination. And in my experience, just doing a thing isn't what really matters. It's how you do the thing. For instance, it's not about making money. It's about how you make money. It's not about losing the weight. It's about how you lose the weight. You could easily make money and lose weight by cutting all sorts of corners that aren't in alignment with the type of person you want to be in life. And this type of action leads to achievement without fulfillment, which is the ultimate form of failure because it comes at the expense of the most important thing, your values. So here's a better way to vision cast your future. Don't set goals without first setting your values. Goals are the what, values are the how. And they are the most important part of the equation because your values are the fundamental beliefs about who you are and the type of person you want to be in this world. They guide everything you do. For instance, 3 of my values are creativity, curiosity, and discipline. So at the end of each day, I can look back, I can ask myself, did I create something new today? Did I learn something new today? Did I show up and do the work today? When I can answer those questions in the affirmative, it means I was living in alignment with my values. And here's like the biggest reason I love value setting more than goal setting. You have an infinite number of opportunities every single day to live in alignment with your values, whereas you can only ever achieve your goals once. Your values are the compass guiding your actions. Do not set off on your journey to find your greatness without them. And I guarantee you, if you do that, if you bring your compass along with you, along with everything else that we've discussed in this video, you'll easily get ahead of 99% of people.